Hi, so we're doing another short session today. If you've got one, it'd be useful to have a ball with you. Don't worry if you haven't, we can do the couple of exercises I'm using it for without it. And also we're going to do a little bit of side lying. So if you've got a pillow or a cushion or something you could rest your head on, alternatively you could lie on your arm if that's comfortable. So we're going to start in a seated position. Now if it's comfortable, you're having your legs crossed. If it's not, then you could have your knees bent and your feet out in front of you. And we're just going to start with some arm circles. So I want you to sit up nice and tall from the crown of your head. So we're not slumped, we're not arching the lower back or curving it in the opposite direction. We're lifting ourselves up and away from the floor. And then we're going to reach the arms up to the ceiling, palms face forward. Breathe in, breathe out, sweep the arms down, palms face down. So breathe in to reach them up and breathe out, sweep them down. 3 more. Breathe in and breathe out. Last 2. And last one. And then relaxing. And then I want you to put your hands on top of each other. Thumbs are on either side of your breastbone. And then you're going to imagine that your head is attached to your hands and we're turning from side to side. So you're not going to go very far, because obviously if you were standing you'd probably be able to go further. The idea is you want to keep the hips facing forwards. Breathing out to turn, breathe in to come back. And then on the next one, if it's comfortable, as you turn, you're breathing out and you're reaching the back arm away, which will take you a bit further into the stretch and then back to the middle. Turning and then reach the back arm away. If it's uncomfortable on your shoulders to have the arm at shoulder height, just go a bit lower with the arm. And then back in, breathing out. Last 2. And last one. And then coming back to the middle. And then we're going to lengthen our legs out long in a V shape. Now if in this position you feel really tight in here in your hip flexors, you might want to put something underneath you. So I quite like sitting on a block, but maybe you've got a cushion or something. If it feels like you're getting really tight in here and you feel like your knees need to be bent, then in order to sit yourself up taller, get your sitting bones right up onto a cushion, or if you've got a block, then sit on it. And then we're going to take the arms out wide and we're just turning to the side, trying to reach the toes on the foot that we're turning towards. So it's opposite hand to foot, and the other arm is coming behind you, palm facing up. And then back to the centre, sit up nice and tall. So breathe out to turn, go across to the opposite toes. Don't worry if you can't touch your toes, but you're aiming in that direction. Sit up nice and tall in between. So breathing out to turn, look over the shoulder, and then sit back up tall. Breathing out. We're flexing the toes on the feet. Last 2. Sit back up tall, and last one. And then coming back up, relax your arms. Come off the block or the cushion if you've used one. And then you're going to come onto all fours. So knees are underneath your hips, knees are hip width apart. Hands the fingers are spread out and the wrists are right underneath your shoulders. Unless it's uncomfortable on your wrist joint, in which case take your hands a bit further away, or you could possibly come into a fist position with your hands. So we're going to start with our Superman. So you're reaching one leg along the mat and then lifting it and then lifting the opposite arm off. Breathing out and breathe in to bring them back to the starting position. So sliding the foot along the mat, lift and reach. Opposite arm comes off. So breathing out to move, breathe in to come back to the centre. Trying to keep that nice flat lower back, so we're not taking all our weight over onto the opposite hip. We're trying to keep as stable through the middle as you can. Draw your belly button up towards your spine, nice long neck looking straight down in front of your hands. Reaching and lengthening. What you don't want to do when you lift the leg off is lengthen and then really overreach and create a big arch in the lower back. Think about length as opposed to how high the leg comes. Breathing out to lengthen. Breathe in to come back. Last 4. 3. If you do find you're sinking onto one side, just have your knees a little bit wider to start with. 1 more after this one. And relax. So nice wide knees, sit back towards your heels for a moment. Give yourself a stretch out. So you can have your arms long or hands underneath your forehead if that's more comfortable. And then just try and melt the front of your ribs down towards the mat. Really heavy bottom towards your heels. Deep breaths in through your nose, out through your mouth. We're trying to sink the front of your chest, the ribs at the front down towards the mat. Take 4 deep breaths in and out here. And then we're coming back up onto all fours. Get yourself set up in your 4-point kneeling again. So wrists are underneath your shoulders. And we're going to tuck our toes and lift ourselves just off the floor into a little knee hover. So knees just off the mat. We're drawing the tummy up. We're breathing. We're keeping the neck nice and long. Look down just in front of your hands. Holding it. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Resting down. Okay, so we're going to keep doing this. If you're happy just sticking with the lifting, that's enough work for you. I want you to actively push your hands into the floor, lift yourself away from the floor so we're not collapsed into our shoulders. And then just stay there for maybe a couple of breaths. Knees are just a tiny bit off the mat and just work on your strength and then resting down. If anyone wants to work a bit harder, you're going to come off with your knees and then we're lengthening one leg out, bring it back to exactly the same position and switch. When you do that, the other knee doesn't lift. It stays just a tiny bit off the mat. And we're maybe doing 2 or 3 on each leg. Breathing into it. If you feel you're about to collapse down to the mat, then just rest back down again. And we're doing 2 more sets. So breathing out to lift off, either just a little knee hover or adding those legs lengthening away. Keeping that opposite knee just lifted off the floor. Okay, we're doing 1 more set. Breathing out. Just make sure you keep breathing. Try and get into a rhythm with your breath. So you're not holding your breath, you're not clenching your jaw. And then resting down. Again, just sit back and give your wrists a break for a moment. You could sit up tall if you want and give them a little circle or interlace them and make a little wormy shape with them. Breathing into it. And then we're going to come into an up stretch. So get your hands back down onto the mat, tuck your toes, lift your bottom, and then drop your head through your arms, padding through the feet. Bend one knee, straighten the other, push the heels down towards the floor. Try and really push that tailbone up to the ceiling. Breathing into it. And then push both heels down. Take 3 deep breaths in and out. The weight is in the heels of your hands and the heels of your feet. 1 more deep breath in and out. And then resting down. And now I want you to come onto your side. So we're putting the heels and the bottom in line with each other on the back of your mat, if you're on a mat. If not, just make sure the heels are in line with your bum and your spine. So coming down onto your side. Now if you want to, if you feel your head's not hanging, you could just rest your head on your arm. If not, get a cushion and you could rest your head down on the cushion. Okay, we're just starting with the bottom leg bent, top leg long, and we're lifting and lowering. So we're pointing the toes to come up, flexing to come down. So breathing in and breathe out. We've got a little tiny lift in our lower waist. So push that top hip away to feel yourself lifting and try and keep that little lift throughout. Breathing into it, looking straight ahead. 4, 3, 2, and last one. And then resting that leg down, bend the knee up and over for a moment to give that hip a break. And then we're going to come into a sweeping movement. So bottom leg staying bent, top leg long, flex the toes and sweep the leg in front of you. Point and come just back so that the top hip doesn't rock backwards. So you're trying to keep it stacked on top of your lower hip. Breathe in one way, breathe out the other. Try and keep that leg at the same height. Last 4, 3, 2, and 1. Resting that leg down, again bend it for a moment. And then we're going to come and sit onto our ball. Now if you don't have a ball, just lie down on the floor normally, you don't need to worry about it. Put the ball, if you've got one, on the side of your ribs, so in between your waist and your armpit. And then you're going to rest down on your arm or a cushion. Bottom leg is bent, top arm is along the top of your leg or down the thigh. We're taking a breath in, breathe out, lift your head, look straight ahead, slide the fingertips up your leg and lift your leg. Resting back down. So breathing out to lift off and breathe in to come down. Try not to look at your leg, try looking straight ahead. If your neck finds it really challenging, then just lift your head a tiny bit. The higher the leg lifts, the higher your finger sweeps up the leg, the more you're going to work your obliques, so your waist tummy muscles. 4, 3, 2, and last one. Well done. And then coming up, and we're going to switch over onto the other side. So bring your ball with you. And we're starting with the bottom leg bent, top leg long. And we're pointing to come straight up, flexing to come down. So breathe out to lift off, breathe in to come down, or you can breathe the other way, it doesn't matter with this one. Lifting that lower waist slightly. 4, 3, 2, and last one. Rest that leg down, bend that top leg up and over. And then we're coming into our sweeping. So top leg long again, flex the foot to come in front, breathe in, breathe out, point the foot and come behind so that there's no extra arch in your lower back. Okay, so we're keeping this top hip still. Breathe in one way, breathe out the other. Last 4, 3, keep that little lift in your lower waist, 2, and last one. Resting that leg down. And then if you've got a ball, you're going to lie down on it again on the side of your ribs. Coming down onto your side, bottom leg stays bent, top leg long, and put your fingertips along it. Take a deep breath in, breathe out, lifting off, sliding the fingertips up the leg. Breathing out and breathe in. Last 5, 4, 3, 2, and last one. And then coming off the ball, and we're going to come down onto your back. Glue your legs together, knees are bent, arms out to the sides, palms facing up, and then just let the legs drop one way, turn to look the opposite way. Just relax down into the floor and then squeeze those legs together, come up and over the other way. Once more in each direction. Make yourself really heavy as you get there. And last one. And then back to the middle. Hug your knees into your chest. Give yourself a little rock from side to side. Deep breaths. Try and melt the back of your ribs down into the mat. And you're all done. Well done.